Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I'm doing my review for the Razer Viper Ultimate Mouse. Now with this structure I'm going to do something a little bit different, which is just showcase the mouse itself with B-roll and footage of me playing games versus me actually just talking into the camera here. So with this structure I'm still going to follow the structure that I usually use, which is I'm going to talk about the specs first, then I'll get into the things that I like about the mouse, then I'll talk about the things that I don't like about the mouse, and then I'll wrap everything up. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the specs. The Razer Viper Ultimate Mouse is an ambidextrous wireless mouse weighing 74 grams and features 8 programmable buttons, a 20,000 dpi sensor with 99.6% resolution accuracy, optical light switches which use an infrared light beam to register every click with a response time of 0.2 milliseconds. This has a battery life of 70 hours from a full charge and can provide 5 hours of playtime with a 10-minute charge. There is RGB lighting on the top of the mouse and the base of the charging dock, which features 16.8 million colors. On the bottom of the mouse you will find the DP setting button, which has 5 different settings that you can cycle through, 5 skates, and then with this also you'll have a little compartment where you can actually store the USB dongle. You'll also find 2 little holes that have little magnets in them that attach this to the dock. Moving on to the dock itself, you'll actually find a little port that you can plug in the USB dongle. From there, there's actually a micro USB cable that you can pull out, but this will actually run to your computer, which is how it actually connects to your PC. That same micro USB cable you can plug also into the front of the mouse as well, which for those not buying the dock, this is actually how you would charge this mouse. This has an MSRP of $150 if you are buying this with the dock, or $130 if you are buying it without the dock. Side note, make sure you have the right mouse on Amazon when you order this and don't cut the cord off the wired version like this person did. Alright, so now that I've covered the specs, let's talk about the things that I like about this mouse. So I use this on my second rig downstairs and the battery life is really great on this thing. I can go a couple weeks without charging the mouse because I don't use it a ton except for a couple of hours a day at most. The biggest thing I've noticed with this mouse is how comfortable it is. Compared to my Logitech G703, which is my daily driver, this has a lower profile, which I wasn't quite sure I would like, but I'm actually starting to prefer it a little bit more. But because it doesn't fill out my hand quite as much, that's something I think you need to know, just because it might not be the right fit for you because of that. Performance with this thing is top notch. With games, I haven't had any issues to date with input lag or unintentional clicking, and for the longer play sessions that I do with various games that I play personally, I haven't had it agitate my hand at all, which I've actually had happen with other mice in the past. The Razer software is easy to use to change your 5 DPI settings or power settings, and offers your standard RGB lighting profiles which fit well with the aesthetics of my setup. You can remap the buttons of course, and the extra side buttons can be used for macros in games if that suits your playstyle. And I do like the clickiness of the buttons, which, speaking of the buttons themselves, let's go ahead and cut over to a sound test so you guys can hear what these actually sound like. So to surmise all of that really quick, this feels really good in the hand, the battery life is phenomenal, the RGB lighting is great, and the performance is top notch. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the things that I don't like about this mouse. So I do want to start off by saying that I wouldn't necessarily call these dislikes per se, more food for thought if you're going to buy this mouse. The charging dock is solid and I like the lighting on it, as it's a nice RGB addition to my desk space, which doesn't have as much compared to my main rig, but my main rig also has the Logitech Powerplay, which allows me to charge my mouse while it's on the pad at any spot on it. Others that I've used, like Corsair's version of this, only allow for charging on a specific corner of the pad, but this is also a regular wireless charger, so you could actually charge your phone, while the Logitech one is proprietary tech and will only charge the mouse. At $150, you have to ask yourself if you want to add on the additional task of putting your mouse on a dock, or do you want to spend a little extra, $40 to $60 for the Logitech setup on the low end, $60 to $100 on the high end, or Corsair's version, $50 to $80 extra, on a different brand to charge your mouse on a mouse pad. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Razer Mamba plus the Firefly, which is really their brand version of this. It can be a little bit harder to find. You're looking at $250 for this, so this is going to be $100 more, but it is out there. I'm sure people were screaming at me why I didn't mention this. I personally haven't used it. I've used the other ones, and I do have this on my list to try. I just haven't used it yet, but that is something else to consider. But that's also assuming you could find one, as these are quite difficult to track down right now, just with everything going on in the world. So Amazon is generally sold out with these, so I'm going to put links in the description. Check back frequently just to see if you can actually find some of these. Keep in mind, if you don't want to do either and you're okay just charging your mouse with a cable, then you can get this mouse for $130. There's also no weight adjustment like you find with other mice, so you're going to have to like the lighter weight of this because there's no change in it unless you alter the mouse somehow. The DPI setting button is on the bottom of the mouse also, which I would have liked to have seen that on the top underneath the scroll wheel, which is a little more common. So that's going to round out my dislikes, and like I said, not really dislikes, just things I want to make sure you guys are aware of with this if you're going to shell out that $150. So things to consider. But with all that being said, should you buy this mouse? And I think that's a tricky one, as the higher price tag gets you close to other alternatives that might suit you better if docking this mouse seems like a pain for you to do. Performance is top notch and seems on par with the other mice I've used in this same price range, and I do like the clicky feeling of the switches, but it doesn't seem to give me any competitive advantage over other mice with the light-based actuation, which is something that they really harp on with the advertisement for this. So although I'm happy with this purchase, I hope my info in this video will help you make an informed decision on whether this is the right mouse or not for you, especially if you're in the market for an ambidextrous mouse. So that's going to be it for this video, everybody. If there's something that I didn't answer in this video, let me know in the comment section. I will make sure that I actually answer that for you there. There's going to be a link for this in the description as well if you want to pick this mouse up. If you guys like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.